Hey everyone, good morning. Early vlog this morning. I look like crap, I'm sorry. I was reminded today that I just thought it's 9/11. Yeah, in a story there. It's 9/11. 14 years. 14 years, America. And look what's all happening in the last 14 years. Kids are using cell phones more than they're talking to their parents. That's sad. That's sad, America. One thing, I mean, we're not done yet. We're still at war. We're still at large. After 14 years. Wow. A lot of people said that this war is the next Vietnam. It's, if we don't do something about it, we're gonna, outbeat the Vietnam War, really. Sorry, my windows are open and I'm in the bedroom. Just pretend it's the ocean, that's how I pretend it. We live by a freeway, yes. What do you say? What do you think? I live in the city, so. Anyway, 14 years ago, I was getting ready for school. I was 16 at the time. That's something to think about. Wow, I was 16, now I'm 30 years old. Almost 31. I was getting ready for school, and I was still in my pajamas, and I went in the living room because I heard something going on the TV, and I went in the living room and I saw that my mom and dad were sitting on the couch, and their eyes were glued to the TV. They were watching the Today Show, and I was like, what happened? And they're like, oh, we don't know. Nobody knows what's going on. But apparently a plane went through the World Trade Center in New York. And I was like, what? Just a plane? Really? I mean, is everybody okay or anything? And they're like, no, of course not. A plane went into a building. Duh. But it didn't hit me like that. So I was like, just a airplane? And they're like, they don't know. They don't know what's going on. And I sat down and I watched for a little bit. And then I was looking at the clock. I was like, I gotta go to Walmart. Because I had, that night was homecoming. And I had to get some stuff because I was in the pep squad. So I had to get some stuff for homecoming. I haven't finished my football player poster. If you don't know what that is, you decorate posters for football players and their moms, and I haven't finished mine, and I had to finish a little bit of part of my poster, and I had to get some stuff for homecoming because it was homecoming, so I was going to get glow sticks and blah 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 and all that. And I remember I went in my room, I turned on the TV, and it was on everything. Nothing was on except for cartoons, and I didn't want to watch cartoons. I was like, okay, this is a little strange. I just hope everyone's okay, whatnot. I didn't know what was going on, neither did anybody else. But it was like, wow. Really? A plane? I was just shocked. And I got dressed, and I remember I was in the car, and Mom and I were listening to the radio nonstop. Hearing play-by-play, what's going on and everything. And we got to Walmart. This is when we were living out in Birch Bay. So it took about 20 minutes to go to Walmart. And there was hardly anybody on the freeway. I remember that. Like I said, I had to get to school really early. And I was in Walmart, and they had TV. That was back when Walmart was really cool and it was first opened. And they had TVs on every corner. And they had the radio going, and they said that the second tower was hit. What? First, the one airplane goes through a tower, and now a second plane went through the second tower? Who does that? You know, it was weird. So, I was in line, and the manager got on, and he said, everybody has to pay for their things. We're closing up early. And I was like, why? Why are you closing up early? And they're like, we can't tell you that. I didn't know until later in life that why they closed early was because I also found out that the Pentagon was hit that day too, and they were closing early, and the border was even closing. And I was like, why? You know, I didn't know what was going on. And they later said that was all terrorists. It was a terrorist attack. And they had to close the borders. And I was like, this is the end of the world happening. This is totally the end of the world happening. So I paid for my stuff. I got in the car and I told Mom that the first tower was hit. Or the second tower was hit. And she goes, yeah, I know. I heard it. I heard. And so I got to school and I went into my study hall class, and that was when I had Mr. Hall, and I love Mr. Hall. You know, he's sadly not with us anymore, and but I went into his class, and he had the TV on. All the teachers had their TVs on, because I remember walking in the hallways and I saw all the teachers had their TVs on, and all the students were all glued to the TV. They would look like zombies. And I didn't drop off my things off on the desk and stuff because I was watching the TV. I was too busy looking at the TV. And I saw that the first tower went down. The first tower that they hit went down, and it was on TV, and oh my god, I'll never forget the look on Mr. Hall's face. He was like, oh Lord, no. And he was screaming, and he was shaking, and then he covered his eyes and he cried, and I was starting to cry, and I went over to him and I hugged him, because that was I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. And our principal at the time got on the PA and she said, well, as pretty soon as you know that the first tower went down, I hate to say this, but I'm gonna have to cancel school today. Everybody, I want you to go home, be with your loved ones. And as soon as she said that, the second tower went down. And I was watching it. I watched it go down. And she said, yeah, and she was just like basically talking how I'm talking right now. She was just shocked and appalled. And she said, I think that everyone should just go home, be with their loved ones, call them up, and be with their loved ones right now. Luckily, at the time, I had a cell phone, and those were like the tiny little cell phones. So I called my mom, because all the students were using payphone. We had payphones in my school. All the students were using their phone, or the teachers' phones. It was all book solid. Thank God I had a cell phone at the time. So I called Mom. Sorry, I have to tripod my hands. I'm using my cell phone. Speaking of, I called my mom, and she said, "No, don't worry. I'm on my way. Dad's on his way too. He didn't even leave to go to work. I'll pick you up in 5 minutes." And I went home, and it was just dead quiet in the car. Everyone was just so shocked. And that the Pentagon was hit, and Pennsylvania was hit, and I was like, what is going on? And it scared me half to death. And I came home, and the TV was still on, because Dad didn't leave for work. He stayed home that day. He had to call a couple of clients, say that I can't come in. He was supposed to have a meeting that day, and he didn't go to work, and they told him, don't even bother coming to work, because his boss said, I'm telling everybody in the staff to go home with their loved ones. And then when we heard that it was a terrorist attack that hit, I thought, oh my God. Please tell me that this is a dream. Please. That's all I need to know. If this is a dream, I need to wake up. I'm sure a lot of Americans felt that way too. That they were dreaming. But, that's how I remember. And, I know I won't forget, as well as the rest of the Americans and stuff, but, and their families who lost loved ones on United and on, the Twin Towers and all that. I just, yeah. That's all I have to say about that. So